What's going on, guys? I am Toxic Jordan. Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking down Stage 6 of the Goku Edition Red Zone here versus the Universe Survival Saga stage. So we have kind of a fun team build. I am attempting to troll this event a little bit. This is going to be a 3-phase fight. We're first going against Botamo. Second phase will be against Frost, final form. And then on the final phase, we are going to be against Hit. Now, funny thing about that Hit, he does have a special ability where he's going to be able to disable evasion. So that's why I brought the Tech UI Goku here. To be able to activate his domain at that point, and then we can cancel his dodge canceling, since we have quite a few units on the team that are going to want to depend on dodging, right? So we did get pretty lucky for that domain to be able to proc as soon as possible. We did get Tech UI on turn 1 here, so that's pretty good for us. Because obviously we're not going to be able to proc that domain until the 5th turn from his entry, and we also got very lucky that our rotations are fully set up already. We have the 2 UI Gokus together, and then on the opposite rotation we're gonna plan to run the LR Super Saiyan 4s alongside the Tech Giant Ape Vegeta, right? And that should be pretty powerful rotations. And then obviously, as you do on the Glorio team, we've got both of our Glorio leads that are going to be floating, as well as the 10th anniversary Vegito here, which he is just kind of here as a safeguard, you know, because past turn 5 we'll be able to transform him into Vegito, which will give us that target scale mechanic as well as a really heavy damaging turn. So we'll see at what point we need to use that. Maybe we'll use that against the second fight even. Could it be possible? Because he'll have type advantage against the Frost, who's going to be an AGL enemy. So yeah, we'll see when we end up doing that. But the main kind of plan of attack is just to have that domain active for the final phase, so that we can not worry about his dodge canceling, right? So yeah, it's looking like I was a little bit worried at first about us maybe doing too much damage too quickly and then not being able to get to you know, getting to that last phase a little too early and not being able to, like, build up to turn 5 at that point. Because obviously, like, the worst possible case scenario that could have happened would have been to have the Tech UI in slot 7, so he wouldn't show up until turn 3, which means that the very earliest you would be able to use his domain would be turn 8. And then at that point, it's very reasonable that we could have already gotten to the final phase of the fight without being able to activate that yet, right? So yeah, luckily for us, that was not the case here. But yeah, so we should be able to hold out until turn 5. Well, I say should. It's pretty much, it's a guarantee at this point, right? We've already gone 2 turns in, and we're still on the first phase. So yeah, no, we'll be fine here. We'll be fine here. If anything, we might have to wait until like turn 7 or something to actually activate it, because that domain does only stay active for like 4 turns, 5 turns, something like that. So we want to make sure that it does remain active for the entirety of that final fight, which is going to be quite a lengthy one, to be honest with you. Right now, the HP pool that we're dealing with is 150 million. The next phase is going to be 120 million, but then the final phase against Hit is 560 million. So yeah, going to be quite a bit more. Definitely going to take us a little bit longer. Quite a few more turns to take down that final phase. But the final phase is int, so our Glorios that are going to be stacking throughout this entire event are going to be doing quite a bit for us on the offensive side of things. And right now, you can see we are attack lowering this Botamo, but unfortunately, that ability is going to go away for the next phases. The next 2 phases of the fight, you can't stun, seal, attack, or defense lower them. Alright, put in work, Glorio. Oh my goodness. The type disadvantage definitely not helping us on the front of actually doing damage, right? These guys have really, really high damage reduction. 70% on this first phase, 64% on the second phase, and then 66% on that final phase. So yeah, lots of damage reduction to go around. Okay, if we do end up taking some damage at some point, that won't be the worst thing in the world, just because then we possibly could have access to the AGL UI Revive, right? I don't really anticipate us taking any damage in this first phase here. His super attacks don't hit that hard anyway. They're only 1.5 million, and his normals are only 570k. The next phase, it goes up a little bit. It's going to be 750k for the normals and then 2.1 million for the super attack damage. So that might be the point where we start to potentially see some damage received, and then we're going to need to make sure to have the dodging available once we get to the hit phase, because his super's hit for 4.5 million. So yeah, that's going to be quite bad. And then he also applies a great... Oh, yeah, wow. The dodging is going to be nice for both of these next phases, in fact. Because phase 2 is doing a guaranteed stun with the super attack. So if any of the super attacks connect, then we're going to lose our attacks for the turn. It'll be bad. And then for the final phase, if the super attack connects... I mean, I don't see any of these characters living a super if it connects. Well, maybe not any, because we do have, like, the... You know, like some 10th anniversary Dokkan Fests on this team and stuff. But aside from them, yeah, he would greatly lower our attack and defense for the one turn. Which is just going to make his normals that already hit for 1.5 million hurt that much more. So yeah, that could be pretty detrimental for us. But if all goes according to plan, that domain will proc, and we won't have to worry about taking any damage in the final phase anyway. Okay, lots of type advantage to go around here. Okay, I think especially because we have no attacks to worry about in that middle slot, I am going to give the LR Super Saiyan 4s one more turn to build up here before we transform them. I just want their attack power to be as much as possible for that final phase so we can take him down as quickly as we can, right? And then obviously it's going to be a little bit more important to make sure we have that one last turn that they get of the 77% damage reduction to be against that final phase would be really, really ideal. Just so they can get one turn of like major tanking, and we know we're not going to have to worry about them taking damage or anything like that. Okay, so there we go. Perfect example. We just lost all of the damage output that we would have gotten from Vegeta for the turn, unfortunately, because he got stunned in slot 1. But not too big of a deal there. I'm sure we're still going to get through this phase perfectly fine. But yeah, so one of the main caveats why I'm waiting to transform with the Super Saiyan 4s here is because if we end up starting that final phase without having the domain activated already, then I want to make sure to definitely have one turn where we're safe, because we know no one on rotation is going to be dodging any attacks, so I would rather have the most defensive power possible on that one rotation, which would include that being the transform turn for the Super Saiyan 4s, right? Okay, well, so far so good. We are doing quite a bit of damage. I guess that makes sense, as this phase is just handedly weaker than the first phase. Because the first phase was buffing his own defense when he was supering, this one's not. And then also, this phase has a little bit less damage reduction and less HP. So, that kind of all checks out. Okay, so because the final phase has so much HP, we do have the option to prematurely proc the domain here, but I don't think I want to do that. I think I want to save all of this stuff for the final phase just in case, because the domain, let me remind myself exactly how many turns it lasts. Oh, that's just going to show me the effect here. It's only for 3 turns. Yeah. So we definitely want to proc it once we're already on that final phase, so we're going to avoid doing that here. Let's go ahead and put UI Goku, or I guess the AGL UI Goku slot 1. No, I really want to prioritize same type orbs so that we can get that Dokkan attack quickly. We're moving toward that final phase very, very rapidly, so I want to get as many same type orbs as possible. We still have like maybe another 2 turns or so. Okay, come on, dodge this. Oh, goodness. It was looking like it was going to connect. Alright, well that's good, so we didn't get stunned. Though with Glorio on rotation, it probably wasn't going to matter anyway. I imagine we're probably going to finish this phase off no matter what, so... But that is nice. Don't know what kind of damage we might have taken there. Obviously, he's not the strongest slot 1 tank, because he is built to dodge. But yeah, I don't even know... I mean, between all the active skills and stuff that we've got available to us, especially with like the Vegito turn where we could potentially do all the counterattack damage. I don't even know if we're going to get to the Dokkan attack, but it will be nice to have everything available to us that we possibly can, right? So yeah, prioritizing getting there wouldn't be the worst thing. And yeah, after seeing what damage we just took from AGLUI there on a normal, there's no doubt in my mind we would have been KO'd had we taken damage from that super in slot 1, so I'm very, very glad that we dodged that one. Quite literally dodged a bullet. Oh, no, we did actually, okay, that is good. That is actually really good news that we just survived that. A couple of things just happened here. So, one, now the first turn on that final phase, we are going to be able to get the domain active, because this should be the final phase here, right? The second thing that happened is now there is one more turn where we're not going to have to activate or transform with the Super Saiyan 4s. Because at the very worst, they're going to be attacking to finish the phase. I mean, it's likely, unless Vegeta gets slot 1 supered, it's likely that Vegeta would, you know, do enough damage to finish off the phase anyway. But then in the case that he doesn't, then the LR Super Saiyan 4s are definitely going to. Okay, so he's stunned now. So yeah, now we get one more turn of stacks for them, and they are definitely going to finish off this enemy before having to take any attacks, so we know we don't have to worry about them taking any damage this turn. So yeah, that actually worked out so insanely well for us. There we go. Okay, and then now we're coming onto this final turn here, where we can activate the domain to get the dodges active. But we also have a couple of other things. So, because we took that damage from AGLUI, now we're below the HP threshold, so we have the revive up, so that's really good. We also have Vegito. I wonder... What's going to be the best play here? I think, because we have the revive available, I'm in no hurry to use the Vegito active. Because, okay, so basically we have two really strong counter units on the team right now, right? We've got the Tech UI once we activate the domain, which that is the final answer. That's what I'm going to do this turn. So let's go ahead and activate the domain right away. But yeah, so getting this domain up means, I mean, we had no choice there. We had to activate that unless we were going to do the target skill mechanic with the Vegito and then not worry about anybody else taking damage for the rotation anyway. But I think it's better to get this out now. And then for the next 3 turns while it's active, Vegito can rotate off. And then when he comes back, the domain will disappear and then we can use the Vegito active. I think that's the best way to go because now, you know, all the counterattack damage we won't have to worry about. Like, because, you know, if we... Okay, so basically, Tech UI just got access to a bunch of counterattacks that are going to do a lot of damage. That's why we want him in slot 2 here to do all of that. And if we were to... what's it called? If we were to transform with Vegito, then he would do the target skill mechanic, and then none of the counters would even count for the Tech UI. So it'd be kind of redundant. It would be a little bit of a waste. So yeah, I think this is going to be the best way to run things. Though... One thing I'm thinking about is that Tech Vegito might even just die to a normal there at the end. 1.5 million. Let's see. How much damage reduction does he have? That's rolled off. So he's got 20% damage reduction. He's got 40% damage reduction. Let's play on the side of caution here because I don't want to accidentally take a silly KO. Let's just tag switch him so he's in his defensive form. But we're still not going to bother using the active skill yet. Okay, let's go ahead and launch the AGLUI active skill. No reason why not. Might as well get the damage in. It's not going to do much for us anyway, other than give us guaranteed crits for the turn, right? So it'll give us a little bit of extra damage here overall. And then... Ooh, man, I'm just trying to think of setting up the orbs for next turn as well. Okay, I guess in that case, we'll grab this one orb here. We can grab... this, and then that way we can get these 2 tech orbs. Yeah, that should be good. Okay, perfect. All right, so we should definitely live the turn, barring not getting hit with someone that should be dodging, right? Okay, very nice. 22 million. That is definitely good. The support from the tag-switched Vegito is definitely helping out there too, right? Not to mention, like, what, 6 out of 7 links, 7 out of 7 links active at the moment too? Oh, and then I guess the support from the domain itself. I kind of forgot about that too. That is another factor here. Okay, cool. And then we dodge. Ooh, oh my goodness. Those dodge procs are activating so late into the animation, it's scaring me. Okay, so yeah, this should be pretty good for us. Post-super attack, obviously, his attack power is going to be boosted by quite a bit, so all these counters that he does here are going to be very hefty. That'll be nice. And this is actually my first time using this tech UI Goku since rainbowing him. So I had him at 55% initially. And then when I did my summons on the AGL Goku Youth banner, I managed to rainbow him and even over rainbow him at that point. I pulled 5 copies of him. So, yeah, it's nice to be using him at max power at this point. Kind of good stuff. Okay, it doesn't look like we're going to be getting down to the 50% HP mark for the enemy anyway, which is a little bit unfortunate. Just because then when we transform with the gods, we would have had, or the LR Super Saiyan 4s, we would have had access to their active skill immediately as well. So unfortunately, we're going to be missing out on that, but I think it should be fine. I can't imagine we're going to struggle too hard here either way. Okay, so we've got 70% damage reduction here. Yeah, we should be perfectly fine against normals. Obviously, that would have been really bad had that been a super attack, but we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so now, while we do have the ability to dodge, we also don't have... Well, Glorio is a dodge unit, but other than that, we don't have any dodge units on rotation. Okay, so now is the time we're definitely going to want to transform with the LR Super Saiyan 4s here. And then this is going to give us the Scouter. Okay, perfect. So they are super attacking in slot 2 there. That works out well. Now, for the Glorio active, we would get a little extra damage in here, as well as the attack disable. But I think it would probably be smarter for me to wait on that until we have a slot 1 super, potentially, that we would need to get rid of. I think that's probably the smarter idea. Because, like, basically we know we're safe here because it's only normal attacks in slot 1, so we don't have to worry about that for sure, right? So I think because of that, we'll probably just forego the Glorio active skill here. It's not going to give us any inherent, like, benefits other than that attack disable, which, like, again, like I said, we don't really need here. Man, it would have been nice to be able to have the Dokkan attack on this rotation, but it looks like it's going to proc on the next one. So we are going to have to keep that in mind going forward onto this next rotation. We should be safe there to not proc the Dokkan attack with that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, obviously the LR Super Saiyan 4s would have been the choice unit to do the Dokkan attack with, but that is not going to be the case, so maybe we're going to have to do it with AGL UI? Maybe Tech UI? We'll see. It's going to be one of the two. And actually, maybe that would have been a smart reason to save the AGL UI active skill, because had I used the active skill on this next turn, then it would have guaranteed that we got a crit with the Dokkan attack, as opposed to the 50% chance we're going to have to crit on it. On this upcoming turn, right? So I guess you could call that a bit of a misplay, but I just wasn't considering it, really. Okay, and we do counter this, which is awesome. We're going to do loads of damage, loads of extra damage from that counter attack, which is perfect. There we go. Okay, yeah, and then it looks like we just got to survive the one more turn, and then we will be pretty much guaranteed W at that point, because we're going to have the LR Super Saiyan Force active skill, and we still have the Vegito, you know, active skill turn, so we got a lot of power coming in. Not to mention whatever Glorio does here, plus the Glorio on the next turn too, right? So yeah, it's going to be quite good for us. Alright, and we're still going with Glorio. Still going here. I mean, hey, between the Dokkan attack happening, maybe next turn will be the final turn of the fight. And we still have so much left in the tank, too. We've got, like, a lot to go here. Okay, well, I guess in that case, let's go ahead and... There's a lot of slot 1 attacks here. We don't have the Scouter up. So let's go ahead and just proc the Glorio active for the potential attack disable. Well, a potential super attack disable, right? It's definitely going to be an attack disable. And then we still have, okay, I don't know if we should put him slot 1 because he had the guaranteed guard. Yeah, for 1 turn he had the evasion, but he doesn't have that anymore. So now he has the guaranteed guard after receiving an attack. And then he has the extra damage reduction. I'm a little bit worried about him getting KO'd in slot 1 or something like that. That could be nasty. Let's just keep AGLUI there. I think I trust that a little bit better. Yeah. I think I like that idea. Let's keep him there. We'll just have him do the Dokkan attack. Worst comes to worst, we do just proc the next turn, right? And that's the only real thing we were concerned about anyway, is whether this the fight is going to end now or whether it's going to end like next turn. So, but we're 100% safe next turn. We're literally going to end it with 1 active skill at the start of the turn. So, shouldn't be too bad for us. And that's if he even survives that long, right? It's very possible that we just KO him here on this turn instead. Alright, let's see how much this Dokkan attack does. Nice, and it crit anyway for us. Yeah, definitely not as heavily damaging as I would have hoped. I guess depending on how well Glorio performs here, we probably are going to move on to the next turn, right? But yeah, I don't imagine that we're going to need the Vegito active. Probably not. Probably not. Oh yeah, and I didn't really mention it, but we did manage to heal up above 70%. Obviously, prior to all the orbs we had just selected here, that got us back to 100%. But on the last turn, we were at 72%. So that ended up disqualifying us from having the revive active on this turn. Otherwise, it wouldn't have mattered who we put in slot 1, right? Alright, so more counterattack damage coming in here. Again, not going to make too much of a difference. Alright. Definitely nice for us. Glorio could definitely do this here. He has to get, like, the perfect turn, RNG-wise. And obviously this is my Glorio, not the friend Glorio, so he has much less build-up with his hidden potential. So that's definitely going to hurt, like, the amount of additionals, and crits, mainly, is the real thing. I would anticipate hit is going to hang on for just a little bit longer here. Though, if we get a crit right now, it could be over. But, like I mentioned, we have a very low chance to crit. Oh! No, okay, yeah, we would have needed 1 more. Okay, well, no worries. The domain is now not active anymore, so we don't have our guaranteed dodge up. Or not guaranteed, but our chances to dodge up, but it's not going to matter because we're going to launch this active skill and finish things off anyway. There we go. Alright, so that is Phase 7 taken down of the Goku Edition Red Zone here. Not too difficult. Decided to just go and use a little fun team to troll the hit here, but I can't imagine you would have too much trouble even if you couldn't. guaranteed evade. I'm sure we could have done this with a team that just builds up a lot of stats and stuff. You know, and keeping in mind, like, as long as you've got a unit or two on the team that are going to be able to provide a giant form transformation on that last phase to be able to, you know, nullify his super attack away for a turn, and or having the target skill mechanics available with like Beast Gohan or you know, the 10th anniversary Vegito that we used on that team, or the 9th anniversary physical Super Gogeta, like any of those type of units are going to be very helpful for you. Even Cell Max has one that would keep you safe for this. So. And then I imagine maybe even a unit like Tech Gotenks could probably just tank his super attack outright. So yeah, could be interesting. Could be interesting. Oh, and then actually, yeah, STR Kid Buu could be a fun one because that's an unarmed super attack that launches in that final phase, and he has a high chance to, or a great chance to nullify those. So that could be kind of a fun way to run it too. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots of options. Not too difficult of an event to get through. So there we go. Mission complete here. That's going to go ahead and finish it up for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to check out the links in the description below, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.